Lakshmi too has been around the city for a very long time. As a leader for the future war cult, she would guide Guardians through Vex artifacts and find new technology that could better humanity's advance on our foes. But Lakshmi seems to have more of an evil side, one that's been in front of our face this whole time, but is definitely more prevalent with the events of this season. Today we will discuss Lakshmi 2's dark plan for the season of the Splicer.
Once, I walked a lonely path, friendless and unwanted, dreaming of such a day as this. Vindication is indeed satisfying. The tower may fall, the city may fall, future war cause shall endure. They should have listened to us. Too bad.
So let's first begin by explaining who Lakshmi is briefly, and then we'll get into the issue with the Fallen that takes place this season. Now there will be some spoilers later on, I'll give another warning before we dive into that, but keep that in mind as you progress through this video. Lakshmi has a pretty detailed backstory, but here's a little recap of her past. Lakshmi's story began in the Dark Age, a time where she witnessed the rise and fall of many warlords, kings, and invasions from our new alien foes.
Long ago, I too was flotsam from a brutal war. Future war cult found me. Now I can do the same for others.
Sometime later, she was saved out there in the wild by the Future War Cult, a faction within the city that was obsessed with Vex technology, futuristic devices, the darkness, and the meaning of their life here on Earth. Lakshmi quickly rose among their ranks and was appointed a representative both for Future War Cult and also for the Consensus. Now the Consensus is basically the city's governing body. The factions and the Vanguard formed an alliance together, or a council, to protect and govern over the people. So briefly, that's who Lakshmi is. Next, what experiments and discoveries has she found within the Future War Cult during her time there? Here are a few. First up, we have the device. Now this thing, known as the device, was created when the Future War Cult was founded a long time ago by Maya Sundaresh and some others. This device allowed the user that used it to see into the future, witness different timelines, but while they were doing this, they might go insane. This device was either then lost, stored somewhere, or destroyed, and was created a time later by the modern Future War Cult, which is led by Lakshmi. They rebuilt it inside the city and used it to experiment on multiple things. So with Lakshmi's Future War Cult and the Inner Circle and all of that, they were super obsessed with seeing into the future with these different timelines. A big example of this was dissecting the information from the Vault of Glass and Pradith. Also, with our help, we uncovered secrets from the past when we found a bracelet that belonged to Anna Bray, someone who is said to have died during the Twilight Gap. So with these predictions and the use of this device, the Future War Cult actually predicted the Red Legion's invasion of the city, but no one believed them. This will have a part to play with the Fallen in the city, which we'll discuss in a little bit.
We observed and we prepared, and on the day war came to this city, we saved many.
In Season of the Splicer, we can see the Fallen making themselves at home under the Traveler, thanks to the command of Ikora Rey. Throughout the lore, we can see many people are uneasy with this thought, letting alien enemies into the city to live amongst us humans. Now, if you've played the season at all, you can see at the forefront of this with a great amount of hatred towards the House of Light and Mithrax is Lakshmi 2. We can see throughout both the dialogue and the mini cutscenes that she despises this choice by Ikora Rey and believes that these Fallen could cause our end.
There are several modifications we will need for stable ether production.
Submit a proposal to Ikora. She seems willing to get you anything you need. I must return to the people in the city. Future War Cult has foreseen great misery for them in the days ahead, and they will need an advocate. I often forget how highly those in the tower have placed themselves. The air is thin there. Best not to breathe too much of it.
You must understand this situation is tense for us all. This encampment perches on the edge of decree and democracy. I hope your stay with us will be uneventful.
As do I.
So Lakshmi explains that she's had visions of these fallen killing innocent people in the streets. Now the thing is, she's had a couple of different visions. The first one, like the one just described, where the fallen are terrorizing the city, and two, where the House of Light live peacefully with us. Now it would seem that she's specifically choosing to tell us the bad outcome in the hopes that we join her side and get them out of the city. So here's the big spoiler warning I was discussing earlier. If you don't want to know spoilers for this season and involving Lakshmi and the Vex, I'll give you a couple of seconds to click away. From both the way she acts and the data mined info we have, we can see that Lakshmi clearly disagrees with the way this is being handled.
Suffice to say, we understand its dangers and use the device responsibly. I have glimpsed our future, Guardian, and what I saw was chilling. Skies dark with smoke, shouting, gunfire, and in the center of it all, standing in our city, a group of fallen, the same fallen I saw earlier. Ikora listened to my report, but she chose not to hear it. The Vanguard would rather protect its image than its people. And so, I will handle things myself.
And from that information, it seems that she may be planning a coup, or at least a secret mission on her own to deal with this problem herself. I talked about how she warned the Vanguard in the city about attacks like the Red Legion in the past, but no one listened. This time she realizes this and wants to deal with this threat on her own if others won't help her cause.
If they begin to act against us, well, when I foresaw the Red War, they laughed, until Gaul bound the traveler. This time, I will not whisper my warnings. I will not be polite.
So towards the end of the season, it looks like Lakshmi may open a portal within the city to attempt to kill the Fallen on her own. Vex will most likely invade, which we'll have to fight, and Lakshmi also dies in this process. This is, of course, unless this is some unused dialogue that was just in the files, but it seems like the lore and those lines point towards it. This seems to have a pretty big impact on the city. Every faction leaves, including Dead Orbit and New Monarchy, who were a part of the consensus with the Future War Cult and the Vanguard. So this most likely is going to leave things pretty unstable in the city. We may stop the endless night, but how will leadership progress? Will the people still believe in the Vanguard with enemies like Savathun creeping inside the walls? It's interesting to think about for sure. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. If you'd like to see some more lore mysteries just like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. My name's Evade, and I'll catch you, Guardians, in the next one.